Rob and Zack. This is a podcast about cinematic oddities, where we discuss any media that is too bizarre, abnormal, or off-kilter for contemporary audiences. Occasionally, these projects gel. Most times, they crash hard into the realm of obscurity. Join us as we delve into the cult classic swamp. I'm Zack.
And I'm Rob. And before we get into really the gist of everything, I want to give a shout out to our intro music, performed by a band called An Inferiority Complex. You ever hear of this band before, Zack? An Inferiority Complex?
No, I've never heard of them before.
Never heard of them. So Inferiority, which is really all you need to search if you want to find them. It's a combination of inspiration and inferiority. They're a good band. They're up-and-coming musicians. They very nicely wrote our intro music, which is reversed as the outro music. You should check them out on Spotify, Bandcamp, things like that. I don't really like the people in the band. I don't think Zack knows the people in the band.
I've never heard them before, but I can definitely say I've heard better.
Yeah, they got a ways to go, but you know they're looking for some support, and we're glad to help them out. And the reason I'm bringing this up, this music that we've got, which we use in our episodes, is because finally Zack has let us, I should say, talk about a visual album, something that greatly populates my personal list of late-night movies, different visual albums, and the first one we're going to talk about today is Endless by Frank Ocean. So I think the thing I want to start with, because I have a lot to say about this visual album. Zack, have you ever heard of Frank Ocean prior to me having you watch this?
The name rings a bell. I've heard in passing. And for those listening, I am not a huge music person. Just full disclaimer, I have a horrible taste in music. I'm pretty sure I like the same music I liked when I was 12 years old. So I have no right criticizing music. Unfortunately, because of the arena Rob has placed me in, I'm going to have to make comments regarding. Again, I'm not going to hide my opinion, but I am admitting I have no right to be making comments. So I have heard of Frank Ocean, but I never listened to him. This is my first time listening to him.
So I don't even think you really need the disclaimer, Zack, after saying that the name rings a bell. If the Frank Ocean name only rings a bell to you, it suffices to say you are somewhat disjointed from the music world.
Indeed.
So I figured your answer would be something like Zack. Zack. So can I give you a very, very brief history on Frank Ocean and what we know about him before Endless? It's not much. It's not much.
Please enlighten me, sir. I need to be enlightened.
So Frank Ocean changed the game when he released his first mixtape called Nostalgia Ultra in 2011, and he followed it up pretty quickly with his first studio album, Channel Orange, in 2012. Channel Orange is a great album, and like I said, changed the game. People loved it. What he did for hip-hop, personally, for me, is fantastic. But that success kind of weighed on him, and he really kind of disappeared after those first two albums. Or really that first album, Channel Orange. And so when he fell off the grid, really everyone was saying, well, where's Frank Ocean? He popped up a few times here and there. If you've ever heard of that rapper, Kanye West, he was on his most recent album, The Life of Pablo, on the song Wolves. That was before Endless came out. And really, that's all he did. People were asking, where's the next album? When are you going to make the next, top charting music that we love from you? And he was kind of finding himself. In the years that he took off between releasing Channel Orange and Endless, he started to negotiate how he could leave his record deal with Def Jam. He started to change his whole crew. He started to remove people, add new people, and most importantly, he started to create his own music label. And so, that's where we get to Endless. Does it make sense so far, Zack?
Yes, I've heard of Kane West. I have heard of Kane.
Kane West.
Yes, Kane.
So Zack says it makes sense so far. That's all the affirmation I need. So really that brings us to Endless. And the thing that I want to tell Zack, which he might not have known, which I specifically did not tell him before watching this, is that the visual album Endless was preceded by something much, much longer. There was an actual stream, a full stream of Frank Ocean building this staircase. What we get in Endless is actually the edited version of that. And so, have you ever heard about this, Zack? How Endless was much longer than the 45 minutes we get in the video?
No, I was fascinated how he built a staircase in 45 minutes.
Okay, so I'm jumping back in. I'm jumping back into the history, but now specifically of Endless. So in the years that Frank Ocean is inactive, 2012, Channel Orange comes out. 2015, he's saying, I'm going to have another album this year. And everyone gets super excited, and it never happens. And there's no explanation for why it never happens. He leaves basically all the fans hanging. But a year later, we get another very brief hint that Frank Ocean might release something. And if I remember, I saw it first through like his brother's Instagram account or something. I guess I'm revealing that I follow this type of nonsense in the music world. Basically, what this worked up to was August 1st, 2016. This is when Endless began. On Frank Ocean's website, a video goes up. It's the only thing on the website. And it is a still shot of the warehouse from Endless. I guess we should say that Endless, the actual visual album, takes place in one warehouse. Pretty much every shot is a black and white shot of this warehouse. And that's what appeared on Frank Ocean's website. Nothing was going on. There were some tools and some work tables, but that was it. And a few hours later, music started to play. And we started to get some instrumentals. And as that music started to play, time went on. People were like, what is going to happen? When are we going to get an album from this person? That's all we want. Frank Ocean comes onto the stream, and he starts woodworking. He starts building something. He starts using saws. He starts, soldering things. It's a whole experience. And that's what we watch. That's what I watched back in the day, and that's what people watched. So imagine this, Zach. This is where I'm going to ask for a first opinion on this film, because I didn't want it at the very beginning. What would you think about watching this, not knowing what it was, for an indefinite amount of time? How would you feel about that?
Oh, dear.
Just the beginning, too. Just the beginning of the visual album, where it's him just using saws and sweeping and things like that.
Oh, my Lord. Like I said, this was kind of like my Batman versus Superman, where this was testing. Like I said, okay, for the record, music was fine. Like I said, I have a horrible taste in music, but the music was fine. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, what's he doing? He's working on stuff, and obviously he's in more than one place. So they've combined footage to have it like that. And I'm like, what is going on? And I don't know how I can talk about this in segments. It's kind of like there's two parts. I look at this. Can we call it a movie, or is it visual album or project?
I would like to refer to this as a visual album. That's how I see it.
Okay, it's the visual album. I segment it into two parts. There's the part where he's not wearing the Playboy sweater, and there's the part where he is wearing the Playboy sweater.
That's a great sweater. That's a beautiful sweater.
That's a great sweater. As I was watching this, I'm like, wow, that's a great sweater. And unfortunately, that's the only thing that really registered with me with this. It's like, I think it's very lovely that he was building stairs. I don't know where the stairs went to. Maybe that could be the follow-up where the stairs eventually lead to.
Are you saying you didn't get the ending? You didn't get what happened at the end?
The stairs disappeared, and I was very sad by this. And so did the Playboy.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to this one. No, this thing flew. Like I said, this thing flew so over my head. I could have used it as a comb. That's how far it went over my head. I'm like, I like the Playboy bunny sweater. I like that. I want to know where I could get that sweater because I'd like to make a purchase.
I also would like that sweater.
Yes, it looks very comfy and warm, and plus it's very practical. So you can use arts and crafts projects with it. You can build a staircase with it, and how many sweaters you can build a staircase with? You need that in life. You need that sort of positivity. The best time
to wear a striped sweater is when you're building a staircase.
See, maybe if that were the lyrics to this song, then maybe I probably would have been more on board with that.
No, instead we get lyrics. We get great lyrics as my favorite lyric on the whole album. I never let a random motherfucker shoot the B-roll. Love that line. Love that line. Did you catch that line, Zach?
No. See, I guess a random mother blanker couldn't have if it wasn't a tripod. So
you got to trust someone who shoots your B-rolls. You got to trust someone who shoot the B-rolls.
And I guess he trusted his tripod.
Yeah, it is like a still camera the whole time.
Yeah, it's a static shot, and it zooms in on occasion. So other than that, so he did follow. He did practice what he preached. He did not have a mother blanker. He had a tripod, which I think we all agree is definitely not a mother trucker.
He trusted the machines.
Exactly.
Okay, so that was my first dip into what Zach thought about this movie. And we got a lot from Zach right there. We got a lot. As it started, August 1st, we get this video where sound happens intermittently. some instrumentals, and Frank Ocean starts to build things. So this is what the beginning of the visual album is. I would say the first, 15 minutes of the visual album is him in this work area in the warehouse, just sawing and sweeping up and building the actual steps. But we get a big shift. We get a big shift in the imagery of the visual album and the imagery in the video that was playing in August when he starts to paint. He puts on a big suit with, the ventilation helmet and stuff like that, and he begins to spray paint these steps into different shades of black. And when he does this in the stream, I think this was August 4th, if I remember correctly, this is the first time the layers of the sound that we have been hearing started to get new layers. Like they started to add more depth to some of these sounds that we were getting. And that's when people started to go, okay, this is going to be his release for his second album. This is going to be the big release for the Frank Ocean music we've been waiting for 4 years. And so people were enthralled. I was enthralled. I love the mysteriousness of this. He finishes the painting. He brings them back all into the warehouse. And then Frank Ocean disappears from the stream for 13 days. So the stream exists, and it's just randomly playing music, basically. And it's just a static shot of the warehouse with the steps there, but not built yet. And really, I don't think anybody in the world knew that he was building a staircase at this point. It was just these weird boxes that he just painted. So he leaves. He's not seen for 13 days. And then, here we go, Zach. This is like the coolest thing to me. August 19th rolls around. August 19th, 2016, Frank Ocean reappears. Frank Ocean reappears, and he starts building the staircase, as we get to see in the visual album. And as he builds the staircase, we actually, for the first time, get to hear the music from Endless. And so this is really, really cool. The first time Endless was ever premiered was only to him building the staircase. Every single song, in order that we have it now, was only to him building the staircase. I thought that was really cool. I only got to watch part of it because I was, busy. This was like Tuesday or something he was doing this on. So I had actually had work to do, and so I was trying to catch it while I could. Like how people watch the Olympics, like people sneak the Olympics in their offices. Yeah. I don't do that, but I do that for Frank Ocean deploying things. But he finishes the staircase, and he walks to the top of the staircase. And when he gets to the top of the staircase, the stream ends. I think the lights go out. I think we do get to see the lights go out, so it goes black, and then the stream ends. And that is when you could purchase Endless, the visual album, for the first time. That was literally the release of Endless, was him finishing building the staircase in this stream. Whether it was real time or not, I do not know. If it was pre-recorded and played, if he was actually doing it then and there. But that was how it coincided. What do you think of that, Zach? What do you think of that release structure for a visual album? And here's the thing. Remember the start of the story. This is the first bit of music he's released as a chunk of his own in 4 years.
Well, like I said, I have my finger on the pulse of the movie industry, but by no means the music industry. So I think that's clever. I know that's a big thing in music nowadays, where they kind of hit you all at once with the music, or it kind of comes out of nowhere. They do some hype building you up, but it just kind of, bam, it's there. Marketing level, I can certainly appreciate that. And if I think I knew that walking into this, I probably would have had a little bit more of an understanding. Probably not an appreciation, but I think that would be cool as the stream was playing, you had stuff playing in the background that wasn't exactly the music, but was probably some sort of preliminary version of it. I think that's cool. But without getting, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but yes, I thought that, again, with that you've told me now, that would get my attention. Like I said, the music was fine. It's not something I would specifically listen to ever again.
Oh, we're going to get to the music. We're going to get to the music for sure. But in terms of history, that is everything that led up to Endless coming out. That's pretty cool. Like you said, as from a marketing standpoint, you can appreciate that. And that's really what I'm coming from. Like, that is a very interesting way to release music that people have so highly anticipated.
Yes, it's definitely a way of building anticipation. The only thing I don't know about how making everyone wait for 13 days. That seems a little too far, but that's just me. Okay,
Zach, there's a but to this story.
There's a but. Is it a big but?
It's a pretty juicy but, I would say.
Okay.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the next layer?
I'm waiting for that layer.
36 hours later, after the release of Endless, Frank Ocean releases another album called Blonde.
Whoa.
Yes. And so Blonde is not a visual album. Blonde is an actual studio album. And so it should be noted that you could only get Endless at this current time, the time that I'm discussing, from Apple Music or Frank Ocean's website. And you could only get it as a visual album. You could not just download the tracks. It had to be a visual album. And 36 hours later, we get a track that's everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. The point I'm trying to make is that this obscures Endless. Endless is lost. Basically, no one remembers Endless. If you go to the common Frank Ocean fan, I believe, and you say, hey, Frank Ocean's second album, what do you think about it? They will talk about Blonde. Blonde was great. Blonde debuted at #1, I'm pretty sure. It was one of the most critically acclaimed albums of the year it came out. But we're not talking about Blonde. This is the thing. Endless was lost to history. No one talked about Endless 36 hours after its release. And now, if you remember back to the beginning of my story, in the 4 years that Frank took off after the success of his first album, he began to negotiate how to get out of his contract with his recording label, so Def Jam Records. And this was part of their agreement that Frank Ocean had to do one more piece of music for them, one more album. And Frank Ocean decided to do Endless. And Endless was released through Def Jam. 36 hours later, we get Blonde through Frank Ocean's own label. It is personally released. And that's a very big part of why he did this. He wanted to be free of the label, and he wanted to produce his own music. So that's kind of the reason that a lot of people say this isn't really a Frank Ocean album. It's something that he did to just get it out of the way. He did it to fulfill his contract and do what he really wanted to do. And Zack, I am here to tell you that that is not the case. I am here to make the argument that that is not the case. This is not a throwaway Frank Ocean album, as so many people have talked to me like it is. This is not something that he did just to get it done. This is not something that he learned how to make a staircase for just to sweep it under the rug. Okay? Here we go, Zack. I'm going to give you my hot take. This is a real hot take. It has incendiized people prior to this recording. This is the best Frank Ocean album. You should gasp. You should gasp. Yes,
Bastard.
It's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Zack.
So what I would like to do is explain why this is the best Frank Ocean album. But before I get into that, I would like to ask you your opinion. Zack, do you think this is the best Frank Ocean album?
I don't think I'm qualified enough to answer that.
No. Okay, I'm gonna break this down then. How many Frank Ocean albums have you listened to?
One.
Is it Endless?
It rhymes with Endless. I'm not sure if it's Endless, but definitely rhymes with it.
So by default, your favorite Frank Ocean album is Endless.
Yes, it's also my least favorite too, so I feel conflicted.
We pick and choose what we talk about, okay? And we're only talking about the positive things right now.
Exactly. Fun fact, when Rob suggested we were doing a Frank Ocean album, I didn't know what Frank Ocean was. I thought it was Bill Murray's character from Saturday Night Live, Nick Ocean, the lounge singer. I'm not kidding. I got excited.
I have no idea what that is, the lounge singer.
That was Bill Murray's character from Saturday Night Live.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I haven't seen my share.
When Rob suggested this to me, I got excited, figuring we'd laugh at Bill Murray. And then I figured out it was a guy building stairs for. I have some questions about the staircase. Can I get into that now, or would you rather I hold off?
So yes. How about this? You ask me your questions, and if there's anything that you ask that falls directly into my big idea of this visual album, I'll tell you that, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, these are gonna be very inane questions, so I apologize for the lack of depth. Are you ready, sir? Have you braced yourself?
I'm sitting down.
I want everyone to know, because I've always wondered my whole life, what's it like to talk really in the weeds Star Wars with people. And how do people feel when I talk to them about this? And I know exactly how that feels right now because I'm making Rob go through it with me. So this is my question. With the staircase, how long did the stream go on for? How many days exactly? From start to finish, how many days was it?
It started on August 1st of 2016, and it ended on August 19th of 2016.
Okay, okay. And out of those days, you said 13 of them he went missing?
Yes, so there were some extended periods of silence and him not appearing there, but it was intermittent. Like, sometimes music would play, sometimes he would show up and work on it for a little bit. But there were recorded 13 days where he did not show up at all, according to the music spheres. He just went dark.
Okay. So for those days, so basically out of the how many days this thing was, he only really built the staircase for 6 days.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Okay, how do I ask this without sounding like a jerk?
No, jerk away, Zach. Jerk away.
Okay, jerk away. Is there a reason why they because there's certain so that we just in the visual album we only got him building the stairs. Obviously, we didn't get the static shot. Like, okay, when he wasn't there, was it still just a static shot of what he left, or was it just pitch black dark?
Status shot. Status shot of what remained. Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't like they turned the lights off. It was just like a come back soon.
No. There are cut to blacks in the movie, but to my knowledge, that did not happen in the stream.
Okay.
Until the very end, when he reached the top of the stairs.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, so that's question number 1. Question number 2. So basically, all they did was just combine all the footage of him being there, and they obviously oh my lord, I can't think of the word right now. But when they sit there, because they overlace it, so he's in more. Obviously, they can't. It took him probably hours to build this. It did not take him 45 minutes to build a staircase.
Yes, that should be said. That the visual album is a 45-minute compression of the process of building and climbing the staircase.
Well, it's not just simply building, but it's the fact that it's not like it's shot in hyper speed or it's sped up to like 2 or 3 times normal speed. It's the fact that he's in more than one place, and he's again, there's a word for it, overlaced or
overlaid. I've always thought of it as grafted. They've grafted shots together because there's usually 2 or 3 bodies on the screen, and they're all Frank Ocean, and they're all him doing different things to build this staircase. I'm glad you bring this up because every time I've watched this, I have just wished and sat there and hoped with all my heart that there would be a handoff between 2 Frank Oceans. Like, I really wanted them to edit a handoff in, like where one Frank Ocean maybe hands like a step of the staircase to the other Frank Ocean, but it doesn't happen. Very unfortunately, they do not really interact.
That's very disappointing.
I know, that would have made this top tier.
Yeah, maybe if it had that, I wouldn't feel so negatively toward it. But no, like I said, okay. So I think that's my questions for right now.
Okay, so that's
on,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, am I jumping in to my analysis of this album?
Oh, please do.
Okay, Zach. So, I'm going to assume that you've listened to both Channel Orange and Blonde 60 to 70 times in your life, right?
Oh, at least.
You're well acquainted with these albums.
Yes, 60 to 70 times minimum.
Yes, you know the atmosphere that they create, the feelings that he puts forward, the sounds on these things. So it suffices to say that when you are familiar with these 2 albums and familiar with Frank Ocean, what he's released, there's Channel Orange and there's Blonde. They're both Frank Ocean, but they are wildly different styles. I think that's very noticeable, even from the sense of someone, if you don't mind me saying, Zach, someone like you. If you heard Channel Orange and you heard Blonde, you would think that you would be able to pick up on the difference in style, the difference of tempo, the difference in editing, things like that. And a big criticism of the people who remembered Endless and the people who listened and reviewed Endless was that it was really disjointed. They thought it was kind of all over the place, and they didn't really know where one song was ending and one song was beginning or anything like that. And I'm here to tell you that this is purposeful. This disjointedness, this kind of hop, skip, and a jump between different types of songs and different types of styles is necessary for this album. So picture it this way, Zach. I'm gonna try and give you some imagery right here. Let's say that Frank Ocean's first album is, the floor of the warehouse that this whole visual album takes place in. So Channel Orange is the floor, and that's where he begins. He's working on the floor. And everything he does during this visual album is to build a pathway up from that floor. And so as he works on this floor, as he's building the steps, as he is painting the steps, we're hearing music that is very, very much like his first album. We are hearing sounds that are very much in the style that he presented us and the emotional atmosphere that he presented us in Channel Orange. But as he paints those steps and as he begins to build the staircase, we get a gradual change. We get more of that second album style start to come into the sounds that we're hearing. And by the time that we get to him completing the staircase and beginning to walk up it, we are almost completely immersed in the style of the second album. And so that is what I view this visual album as. Frank Ocean knew that he needed to go from his first album, his commercial and critical success, where people kind of thought of him one very specific way that he didn't want to be molded into. And he had to literally build himself a pathway, both physically and sonically, through his music and his woodworking, to get to that second style. And that is what we hear in this album. This is his transition album. It is how his music gradually meets the style of Blonde and the style that he's presenting to us now through the physical act of building stairs to reach that. And so, Zach, now I'm going to tell you why this all ties together. Because, you know, I'm looking at you. You are looking at me like you have glazed over. You're thinking about Star Wars, I can tell. But here's the thing, Zach. You said you did not understand what happened with the stairs. You said the stairs disappeared.
Yes.
Here's the thing, Zach. This is what ties everything together. I didn't get this the first time I watched it either, so don't feel that bad, Zach. But this is the crux of the visual album. Okay? At the very end, he builds the stairs and he starts to climb up it. The song that actually plays on the album is called Mitsubishi Sony. Get it. So that's actually the name of the song. And it is a revamped, it is a second style version of a previous beat on the album in the song In Here Somewhere when he's painting. That was the mixed version. He's like, here's my transition between album 1 and album 2. Here's the update right before album 2 kind of thing. But anyway, he's climbing the stairs, the music's going, and it's all shots of his feet. You just see his feet walking up each step. And when he hits a certain step, we get a hard cut to black. The music goes silent, and we get the exact beginning of the movie. We get the shot that the whole visual album starts on, and it just plays. It just repeats. It's a big loop because it's endless. Because he built the stairs and he climbed them, and he made it to the next warehouse where he's ready to produce his new style of music. He's ready to make it. He's ready to build the next pathway up to his next album. And everything looks the same. Because people who listen to his music, it's just Frank Ocean. Oh, finally, we got Frank Ocean music. On the outside, it all looks the same. But it's not the same. It's a different style. It's a different person. It's a different level of maturity. It's a different musical understanding that he gets to bring to us. And he brought it to us every step of the way. Endless is us getting to see his transition into his next commercial and critical success. And that's why Endless is the most important and best Frank Ocean album. What do you think? What do you think, Zach? Do I make a good argument?
Yes, you do. You make a good argument, especially someone who's very ignorant. So, which is the best kind of argument you can make. No, like I said, if this thing came with a little guidebook that was like 4 pages long and said, "Hey, this is what's going on," I probably would have had a little bit more to look into. But as an outsider looking in, I have to say, a guy building stairs for 45 minutes and then watching the exact same thing repeat. No, that was not. Like I said, it makes sense. I get it now. I get what makes sense. But clearly, like how you've already laid out, Endless is by no means meant to be the introductory point into Frank Ocean's career. I think that's fair to say. Is it not?
You know what? I might actually think it is.
Okay, so you
get a flavor of the first album and the second album. You know, if you want to listen to the first half of the album, you kind of get a feel for Channel Orange, and if you listen to the second half of the album, you get a feel for Blonde.
But would Frank Ocean agree with that? If he rang my doorbell right now and said, "Hey, Zach, I don't know why I'm here. I just disappeared. I was in the middle of LA somewhere, and all of a sudden I disappeared. I'm in the middle of Nowheresville, New York. But I want you to listen to my music." What CD would he present me with first?
That's a tough one. I don't know what he would say for sure. I'm tempted to say that he would pick his mixtape, Nostalgia Ultra, like the one that came out first in 2011. But I'm kind of tempted to say, can we just make this episode an open letter to him? Can we just await his response to this analysis and your question, of course?
Oh, of course. And he also has when he stops by too. He's bringing me one of his sweaters. He's giving me the Playboy Bunny sweater. He's saying, here. He goes, I don't know why I'm wearing this right now in the middle of LA, but you know what? I have it. And here you go. I hear you're fond of this. I don't know how, but here you go, sir. I say thank you, Mr. Ocean.
Okay, Frank. Yes. Yes. Mr. Ocean. Mr. Ocean, if you're out there, Zack and I would love a picture of the three of us in some Playboy Bunny sweaters. That would be great. We would make that. Is it fair to say that we would make that the logo of our podcast, Zack?
At the very least, a sponsor.
At the very least, a sponsor. Yes.
Sponsored by
Frank,
Playboy Bunny sweaters.
Frank, let us know. We did not forget about Endless. We love Endless. We love that sweater.
Me especially. I would rather look at an image of the sweater for 45 minutes. I think I would prefer that, because like that's a really
okay.
Nice,
well, don't tell him that. Tell him that after he gives you the sweater. Don't tell him that now.
oh crap! Hard cut, smash cut.
Where's the slate?
That's staying in, by the way. No editing that.
No, there's no. So okay. You know what? I think we should get into it then. Let's answer the question. I didn't even explain it in this episode. Why are we here, Zack? Why are we here to talk about late night movies?
Because we're masochists.
Well, yes, because we're masochists, but more importantly, because we want to share the pain we feel with others. Right?
It's pleasure and pain.
We want to know, should we share this pain with others? Well, it's pain for them, but that's our pleasure. And, it's kind of it's a very parasitic relationship. But that's what we're going for here on Cinemodities. What is this, 45 minutes in or something? We're explaining it now?
It's much like Endless. It says 45 minutes, but it feels like 45 hours. So.
Endless goes by so fast, Zack.
It's basically how I would register it if we're using a Batman versus Superman as a unit length of time. I'd say it's one half of a Batman versus Superman. So it feels around. So Batman versus Superman is 180 minutes long. This felt around 90.
Oh God!
Shots fired. Shots fired.
That's a hot take right there. So here we go. Let me put it in perspective. Let me try and cleanse you then, because I can tell right now, Zack, you have a lot of hate and a lot of cynicism in your mind.
Yes,
but I want
to
put
but cynicism.
Okay, cynicism, skepticism, that type of stuff. Let's go with that. I want to cleanse you right now. I want to put you back into the mindset of what we're trying to do here. We are discussing the utility of movies in the sense of we want to show them to somebody else. We want to influence them in some way, and that's an important part of this, because it's not just do we play this late at night. It's do we play it late at night, but who do we show it to? That's a very important layer of this. And you saying that you're a masochist and a sadist,
indeed,
isn't this kind of in line with that train of thought, that maybe you would want to share the pain with somebody else?
Yes, I like making people suffer, but at the same time, if I make them suffer once, they don't want to come back for a second suffering. You gotta make it easy. You gotta let them. It's kind of like we discussed with Fantastic Planet. That is a beginner movie. So you're saying you have to meter out the suffering? Yes, because you don't want to start off with your pain is legendary or your suffering will be legendary. You don't want that. You got to ease your way into that. Like I said, we're kind of the wrong ones to be doing this, because we kind of, like we discussed already, we went into the deep end with Eraserhead, and we're like, hey, everyone else should do that. It's like, imagine pushing your toddler into the middle of the ocean. It's like, hey, nothing bad can ever come of that. And that's kind of what we did, yet we survived. And somehow we're like, hey, we're going to raise our own children by doing the exact same thing and figuring only good things can come of it. Yes, there should be a Law & Order Zvoo episode about how Zack and I were traumatized as children by David Lynch, and we bring him to court. Yes. And the reason why we bring him to court is because we pushed our toddlers into the ocean. That's what got us there. It's like, no, Your Honor, it was the filmmaker. He caused it to do this.
The only reason I would be tempted to do that, to throw a toddler into the ocean and say David Lynch made me do it, is because David Lynch would make a movie about that afterwards.
And I would like to see that movie.
Who do you think he would get to play us?
Oh, I want to be Matthew Lillard. Dibs.
Ooh, Matthew Lillard? The name sounds familiar.
He was in Twin Peaks: The Return. He was the guy who, in the very beginning of the series, like his wife. He's like having sex with a woman who gets beheaded. Yeah, I think he gets decapitated at one point later in the series when they bring him to like a house or somewhere, like the little Munchkins, the woodsmen. I think decapitate him.
I know who yes. Okay, I know. Okay, really, him?
What I'm saying is I want to be Shaggy because he was Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Okay. See, I was thinking that I would want to be like played by Whoopi Goldberg or something like that.
Oh, you want to play like Whoopi? I was going.
Like I think a good like female, maybe not Whoopi Goldberg, like a good female character actress would be great for me. I think. So
you're saying in David Lynch's interpretation of you, he'd see you as a elderly black woman.
I guess I was coming at this from my interpretation of me, because it's not about what I look like; it's about the personality. Okay. You know, and you get a woman with the right amount of sass. I think they could capture my essence on screen pretty well. I don't know why Whoopi Goldberg came to mind. She probably couldn't do it. I
figured we were pulling from David Lynch's cast of characters, so I figured we were going
Naomi Watts. Naomi Watts would play me then. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, clearly, okay.
I mean, 100%. I mean, Naomi Watts, I guess this is an open letter to you too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're the same person, so.
I might have to amend myself and now change myself to, this isn't really a actor, but more of an actor portraying a specific character. I want to be Dougie Jones. I don't care. I want to be replaced with Dougie Jones. And I want the green coat as well.
Yo, that was a slick suit he had on in that.
Yes.
At the beginning of that series.
I have to be wearing the tie over my head the entire time as I'm pushing the toddler into the ocean. I'm wearing the green coat, the puke green coat, and the tie around my head.
Can I just tell you, we're gonna get into Twin Peaks, 100%. We have to talk about Twin Peaks at some point. But the scene in The Return where Dougie Jones has homework to do from Butch Mulligan or Bush Mulligans, and all he does is just flip from page to page, and there's lights from the Black Lodge guiding him, and he circles something, draws stairs, draws a ladder, and then draws a line. That is how I do research.
I think that's how you grade
literally
papers.
How I do research. I circle stuff. I draw lines to other things. When I watched that scene, I was like, no, they are not saying that my research habits are the same as a fucking brain-dead person controlled by a supernatural entity. I almost took offense to that.
The moment you had that sort of thing going into the casino, and you see a giant flame above each of the slot machines.
Oh my god, I've been fucking. Can we do that? Can we do an 8-hour? How long do you have till Star Wars? Can we just do a big hour recording on Twin Peaks until Star Wars?
Yes, we'll discuss. Okay, that's another thing. No more Frank Ocean. We'll go directly into Twin Peaks. But anyway, back to Frank Ocean. Yes, I am not sure who I would show this to. I don't think I would ever show this to anyone. It's not weird enough. It's more confusing because the whole time I'm watching this, waiting for something to happen, and eventually all it does is restart. It's kind of like when you fall asleep watching a videotape, and you wake up 2 hours later, and you're 5 minutes before where you fell asleep. So you're like, what the hell is going on here? And then on top of that, it requires too much context. When you're watching a Cinemoddity, it should be inherently weird. You should see either animated woman running away from a blue finger, or you have Batman and Superman with 9/11 imagery. There should be a Cinemoddity is supposed to be very perplexing, but it's not supposed to require outright context. A Cinemoddity needs context, but there's no context that could ever suffice. When you're talking about Eraserhead, there is no context to explain that movie. It's why is there 9/11 imagery in a Batman movie? I don't know. The filmmaker is insane. Yet somehow someone said, let's give this man $250 million. That's what a Cinemoddity needs context, but there should not be enough context in existence to explain it properly. And I think that's what it boils. This can be explained. Now that I know going into it, I think it's Rob says, let's watch Frank Ocean Endless. Okay. Oh, but first, before you do this, let me explain to you 15 minutes as to why this guy was doing this. And it's like, oh, that makes perfect sense now. Okay. Like, all right, it makes sense. Like, it could be an academic exercise in how to make a visual album and how to do marketing in the digital age, but I don't think it's bizarre. It's too normal.
So you are saying no to the Cinemodities canon, the late night movies canon. You're saying no.
I am saying no because I don't think it's too weird.
Before I give you my opinion, I want to know, how hard is this no?
It's not too hard of a no. I guess it's odd in the sense, like, you're watching, it's like, oh, okay, because at one point, like, multiple versions of him show up and he's doing things, and you're trying to figure out what he's doing, and like I said, like, but again, there's no mystery. There's not like, there's nothing coming at the end. Like I said, the strangest part of this is that it restarts. Other than that, it does not really have, there's nothing really, again, there's nothing blatant about it, which is good, but at the same time, though, is that, and the problem is that once you explain what the context is behind it, it's a very middle of the road. It's not hard. It's not Batman versus Superman, no, where it's a capital N-O with a little asterisk with footnotes that say no, again in all capital letters. But it's not hard, but it's a solid no.
Okay, so I came at Zack with this in the sense of that it was a late night movie for me, and I've used it in the context which we talk about movies, the utility of movies on this podcast. Was there at any point ever where you were like, maybe I'll say yes to have this on the canon? Was there any part of you that maybe I got to a little bit, and you were like, okay, yeah?
Maybe, I guess. No, because I guess
okay.
Once the stairs disappeared, I said, "What is going on? I want more." Because he's building these stairs, and I'm like, "Make the stairs a part of it." The stairs are pretty much the second character in this beside him, and the stairs didn't get their moment to shine. So I don't think there was ever a moment. Like I said, there's no. Another thing about Cinemodities, you need something to jump out at you. There needs to be something, at least within the first 15, 20 minutes, that gets your attention and makes you go. Like, if there's not a moment where you're saying, "What the hell is going on?" or at least thinking it, it cannot qualify as a Cinemodities.
Okay. I was hoping that, maybe not hoping, but I was really interested to see how close or how much I could convince you that this was a late night movie. But I see that I failed. You know, I was hoping. I was waiting for the proverbial shoe to drop, and when it didn't, I think it made it even worse. Because it was like, okay, this is okay, something's got to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, it led to disappointment. Okay, so I guess I have to answer the question now, which surprisingly, I am also going to say no. Whoa. I have used this as a late night movie before, but really I think that in kind of the years since this has been out, you know, not even 2 years yet, how much appreciation I've gained for it, you know, since listening to his other music and respecting Frank Ocean more. This is just something I would want to share with somebody. I would say, hey, you like Frank Ocean? Have you ever heard of this? Listen to it. You know, take the audio, take the visual album, whatever, check it out. In terms of a late night movie, in getting a reaction out of somebody, I can't see that ever happening. This is bedtime fodder. Like, you are going to bed. Like, if you're intoxicated and you got to put something on, this is not keeping you up. This is putting you to bed pretty quickly, I would say. Did you expect that? Did you expect me to say no? No, I was expecting it. I wasn't expecting it to be a Fantastic Planet-sized yes, but I was expecting you to kind of slip it in there, like, well, it does have this. You qualify. You're like, well, it's not Eraserhead and it's not Fantastic Planet, but it does have the elements. It has some elements to it. So no, and you have 3 or 4 people walking around at the same time, and they're all wearing a Playboy bunny sweater. So come on. I'll do that. If it's I'll say what you said for Batman v Superman. If it's wildly convenient, I'll play that scene. Okay, there we go. If it's wildly convenient, or unnaturally convenient, like you have the disc in your hand and you trip and it falls into the DVD player, then it works. It perfectly lands in the machine and closes all at once. Yes. It's like, whoa. How can I not watch it? I gotta say that I really summarize my thoughts on Endless, and really talking about it for this episode, this podcast has made me really come to terms with my understanding of it. This is an amazing album. This is an amazing piece of musicianship. This is an amazing piece of sound. a Cinemoddity has to be more visual than this is. I completely agree with you.
All right. I had a question my whole time watching this. I think,
Okay.
considering that you are a music file.
Does it have to do with
or
snacks?
audio file.
Does it have to do with snacks?
No.
Okay, I'm going to ask that question after your question.
All right. As I was watching this, I was thinking about visual albums and what artists make visual albums. And the whole time while I was watching this, I'm like, what artist today would make a Cinemoddity visual album? And I was thinking about, like I said, I have a horrible taste in music. So I was trying to think what artist that I'm aware of that would make something that would be so bizarre it would be a Cinemoddity. And I was wondering, wouldn't it be great if someone like Iggy Azalea made a visual album that's like the weirdest, this awful garbage? It's like, 'cause I know there's a music video of her like shaking her rear end, and there's like children in it, and it's like all this weird like imagery. It's like oh god, I saw it on the internet. It's like Mo bounce. She says the word bounce like 800 times in like 10 seconds. And it's like a bunch of children dancing around. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, wouldn't that be like, I want to see an hour. I don't want to see an hour. Wouldn't that be great if that was like an hour? And it's like, now that's a Cinemoddity. And you have like a 29-year-old rapper singing about her ass. And there's like imagery of children. I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, I want to get on board for that. I don't condone that, by the way. I do not condone children with songs about shaking your ass. So,
no, I don't think you did, Zach.
Full disclosure.
For the audience, Zach is not into that thing.
No.
You know what? You blindsided me with that question a little bit, because at one point I thought you were just going to ask like who makes visual albums anymore, because they are pretty rare. And I think that actually does answer your question. We don't get a lot of visual albums. There was an interesting article recently, I think in Rolling Stone, because a few years ago, Beyonce released a visual album called something. I don't remember what it was. I want to say Lemon, but I don't think it was called
Becky
Lemon.
Has the Good Hair.
I don't know. I didn't listen to it. I didn't watch it. I'm not a Beyonce fan.
you mean Beyonce, right?
Beyonce. I thought it was Bianca. Like the C is hard.
There's
and
no
the
K
E
in
is
there.
Bianca. No, the C is hard. Bianca.
No, it's Beyonce.
No?
It's kind of like, instead of like Avril Lavigne, it's Avril Lavigne. Like,
Avril,
come on,
well, that's common knowledge that it's Lavigne.
Yeah, it is Lavigne.
Like it's lasagna.
Exactly. See? Bologna.
Oh, who doesn't like
Beyonce.
good old Bologna? Beyonce.
It's like,
okay, Beyonce.
it's Kanye West. It's not, I don't know what this Kanye is. It's Kane.
So you know what? I guess that might be the closest thing I have to answer your question about where's our really weird visual albums. We do have a Kanye West visual album.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna talk about it.
Is this one where he's having sex with Kim Kardashian on the motorcycle? Because I want to talk about that.
That might be a part of it, but I think this is the one where it's just like a shitload of dancing. Like there's tons of dancers. Tons of dancers and pianos.
Okay, I have a second part of my question.
I'm ready.
Can we take all of Taylor Swift's music videos and edit them together and call that a visual album? I want to talk basic white girl problems.
You know what? To answer your goofy question in a serious way,
please.
There is precedent for this.
Oh,
Talking Heads. You know the Talking Heads. Everybody knows the Talking Heads.
No.
That is so sarcastic. Are
you talking about an actual band or just a term?
Don't sarcasm me about.
I don't know what I know Talking Heads like you watch the news.
You have to know the Talking Heads. The band.
I do. Do I need to show you my CD collection?
Are you serious? No. You have the song "Once in a Lifetime." So "Once in a Lifetime." So you're gonna know this song as soon as you hear it. It's like oh god, you have to know the Talking Heads, Zach. Okay, what they did basically was they made a movie called Storytelling Giant, and it is just all their music videos edited and combined. And that's what you were describing about Taylor Swift, right?
Oh, okay.
So there is precedent. There is precedent to do this. I believe Led Zeppelin did this as well. Well, it wasn't music videos, it was like concerts. And that's their visual album. The song remains the same.
Gotcha.
Are you looking up the Talking Heads?
No, I'm going to show you what. Okay, because obviously music is hard to do. So I'm going to show you. I use YouTube primarily for music. These are the songs I currently have when I'm listening to on YouTube. These are the most recent favorites.
Zach, you're hurting me.
Look.
You are physically hurting me.
It's all top 40 or pop.
Oh my god.
I told you that's all I listen to.
Oh.
I told you that's all I listen to.
Oh no, Zach, stop scrolling. Stop scrolling.
We're scrolling. We're scrolling.
No, it's too much.
Okay, if it does help me any bit, I have my 44th song on my favorites on YouTube is Don Felder's Heavy Metal theme from the movie Heavy Metal. Other than that, it's all down.
Oh my god, please stop scrolling.
Oh, there's
a
song that yeah, I knew I saved that.
Okay, Google Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads. Listen to it for 6 hours straight and you'll be happy. And you'll be very happy. Yes, for anybody who's still listening, or even if this ends up in the final version of the episode,
I think it has to be.
Anytime we talk about music, only listen to me. Zach has nothing helpful to say about the music.
I have nothing productive to say. No. Okay. Let's see. I'm putting my mic on mute and I'm going to listen to this, everybody. So come back after the jump.
I have to talk about things? Oh, man. Zach is going to know this song. Zach has to know this song. This is one of the most popular songs ever. Da-dum-dum-dum. 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 Da-dum-dum-dum.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yes!
I know that.
Yes! Were you recording me while your mic was muted?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. It was me basically saying Zach has to know this song.
Oh,
There's no way he can't know this song. It's so fucking.
Isn't the song that's in every movie trailer ever made?
This is one of the most commercially successful songs in the history of mankind.
Yes.
I
actually didn't know the name of the song until I heard it. So.
That is the Talking Heads.
The more you know.
Oh, I brought them up because they had precedence. They made a movie of their music videos. Yes.
Ah.
Okay, Zach. Do you have any more questions about
no.
Do you need to know what the notes are? Do you need to know what a scale is? Do you need to know what an arpeggio is? Do you know how guitar works?
No, I know a synthesizer and auto-tune. That's pretty much it.
Zach and I are going to start a band, and it's going to be me playing real instruments and Zach auto-tuned, screaming about things. I like that. You were like, no. Yes.
Then yes. Well, we have to realize, I want from my music what people get from eating cotton candy. I want it to make me fat and lazy, and I get nothing from it.
Zach and I are at odds on this point. That's the best way to say it. We are at odds.
Oh, I can see that I have an awful taste in music.
No. Don't even say it's awful. Like, that's a very subjective thing. If you want to subjectively say that you believe your own taste in music is awful, go for it. But you can't objectively say that. You can't say that about anybody's music. The only people you can make fun of are the people who are like, I don't listen to music at all. Like, I listen to talk radio 24/7. Anyway.
Okay, what
that was all your questions. I have the final question, Zach. What snack do we eat during this? Even though we're not watching it late at night, when we do watch it, because I watch it a lot, because I love it, what should I eat? So here's the reason. I'm really asking you this, Zach, because the last two things we recorded, your snack idea blew mine out of the fucking water.
Oh. So
Zach, the snack master, what do we eat during Endless?
That's my new nickname. I'm the snack master.
So what do we eat, Zach? What's the Endless snack?
Are there any foods that are reminiscent of stairs? Is there any food that you need to eat that escalates? Like you have like a snack, like you eat one thing and you escalate the snack.
The first thing that I don't know what the fuck you mean by that, but the first thing that comes to mind of resembling stairs is Twizzlers. That's the spiral staircase. I know he does. He does make a spiral staircase in this one.
All right, I'll take that.
Okay,
that's easy.
Well, okay, yeah. So is that what we want? We want something reminiscent.
Sure, it works. It's a spiral. Get spiral staircase.
I have works. So let's Twizzlers or Red Vines. We're not trying to take a stance, right, on either of those two. Do you have a preference?
Twizzlers.
I don't like either of them.
Yeah, licorice is a pass. So.
Okay, so maybe you eat that if you like Twizzlers.
But what I meant by like a snack that escalates, like, is there like a snack where like you eat one thing first, then you eat like a second part of the snack, but because of what you had during the first step, it like tastes better, then like you do something else. It's like a constant like maybe like.
Oh, I see what
like,
you're saying.
Like you have like one bite of something, like the first bite like complements the second bite, and then like the second bite complements the third bite. So it's like this constant like it elevates, like it constantly everything elevates. So eventually, like the staircase just disappears and it starts all over again. Is there any food like that, or am I just insane?
I feel like the thing that I think of is something like tapas, in the sense of that you get a lot of small dishes.
Okay.
You don't really get the sense of where each bite complements the previous, as in a staircase where you're building up to something. But, oh man, there's got to be something. There's got to be some, maybe not dish, maybe not one snack you can eat, but a type of meal that you can partake in that would mimic that behavior. I like that idea. Zach, you have the greatest snack ideas. You're on the ball with these snack ideas. Well,
wait until we get into Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Then I'm going to have the best snacks ever.
Oh my. Oh my. So we're saying no. We are surprisingly saying no to Endless by Frank Ocean. I would say a Rob statement is that you should check it out on your own. You should actually watch it and listen to the album. It's a great album. If you like Frank Ocean especially, you should not just sweep it under the rug. It's an important piece of his discography. I don't know if Zach can say the same thing.
Zach's saying Google Playboy Bunny sweater.
Yes. Do that. I agree with that as well. But Zach's not endorsing the music as much as I am. So we're saying no. So we're saying no to Endless, but still check it out. It sucks. I'm a little bummed, but I agreed with you. You can't. The first visual album is just not a late night movie, not a Cinemoddity.
There we go. All right. So how are we going? I think we should end every episode with how are we going to end this episode?
I agree.
Every episode is just how are we going to end this? Why haven't we thought? Again, it's been like a week now. Why haven't we thought about this?
So I haven't thought about the ending to an episode since the last episode or today, except the backward version of the N inferiority complex intro. So why don't we go with that?